this video, I'm going through all the books I read and ranking them, yeah, in order. And I'm also telling you what I rated them, how many stars, and then maybe I'll tell you a little bit about it. Who knows? So I read 34 books this year. Crazy. I mean, last year I think I read none. At the bottom, place 34 with 1.5 stars. This book, Poor Unfortunate Soul, by Serena Valentino. Yeah, it's a whole series, but this is like, this series is basically where it's like the origins of the Disney villains and like how they got that way. Apparently I bought these off of Lucy. I don't remember doing that, but yeah, anyway. This is very short, but this was not good. Because it's about Ursula, but like she's literally hardly in it. The whole book is just about these random three sisters, and they have their own book. But it was really bad. I didn't feel sorry for her at all, not gonna lie. I don't know what else I could say about that. And then we're on to our 2.5 stars. I listened to the audiobook of the first Summer I Turned Pretty book. It was so boring, and I love the show. Like, I swear nothing happened, and when things did happen, it was just Betty complaining about everyone. And when I watched the show, everyone's like, oh, you have to, like, Conrad Gullies know because they read the book. He was even worse in the book than he is in the show. And Stephen was such a dick too. All the characters were worse than they are in the show, and it was incredibly boring. We have this, Fierce Fairy Tales. This is a collection of short stories about, they're like Disney tales, but they have twists that are like dark, or it's basically, I think it's meant to like enlighten women and be like, you know, some of them were good, but most of them were not. And I don't think poems are for me. That being said, I do want to get a book of Emily Dickinson's poems, but that's only because I've watched Dickinson and I just love Emily Dickinson. Then I read all of The Worst Witches. Well, not all, but all the ones up to a certain point. And I rated at the bottom The Worst Witch Saves the Day at 2.5. There's nothing wrong with the Worst Witch books. It's just that they're not good. Like, they're not bad. They're just not really good either, you know? So yeah. And then we're on to our 3 stars now. The Worst Witch to the Rescue. And then The Worst Witch Strikes Again. And then the first Worst Witch book. A Bad Spell for the Worst Witch. The Worst Witch All at Sea. And The Worst Witch and the Wishing Star. So that's just all of the Worst Witch books, just all there. The Wishing Star, I said, is the best one because she gets a dog in it, and then that one's pretty cute, you know. She's the worst witch, yet she's the only one allowed to have a cat that isn't even a black cat, a turtle, and a dog. It doesn't make sense, it doesn't. But we love Mildred. Then we have As Old as Time, a book series of all the Disney stories, but they're twisted, but it's not about the villains, they're just different. It's literally the Twisted Tales series. This is the 3rd one in it, which I'm not gonna lie, I did get this in year 6. I'm now in year 13, and I only just read it this year. It was just boring. Like, I can't really remember any of it. It was just really so long. Then we have Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. There's just points in it that I just don't get. Also, the whole point of it is that he never wants to fall in love, and she does. And they're like having sex, but it's just sex, nothing else. And the whole time, we get both of their POVs, but it's mostly hers. And the whole time, she's like, he's gonna fall in love. Like, I know he said there's nothing else to it, but there were, like, honey, chill out. They did get together in the end, but still. And he, oh my god, I hate it. I hated his POV because it's always flashbacks to when he did the weirdest thing ever. He was like, I don't know, 18 or whatever. He met this girl one time. He meets her one time, and then she becomes his sister-in-law. And then they get together when they met one time. So why are they like, oh, now let's get, like, if they had been together for a while and then became like step siblings, it's like, okay, fair enough. But they met one time, then became step siblings, then got together. It makes no sense. And then the Beast Within, this one was slightly better. Didn't really feel bad for the Beast. He was kind of a bitch, but he did kind of redeem himself, I guess. I don't really know. In the normal films, Belle getting with him, fair enough. But in this one, it's just, nah. And then we have The Love Hypothesis. It wasn't bad. There were just points where I was like, what the hell is going on? And I don't love the writing because they really emphasized how tall he was and how big his hands are. And there's one line in it, which honestly I think this one line might have been the reason it only has 3 stars, is she's standing next to him and it literally says she looked up and up and up. Like, he's not that tall. And then also there's the spicy scene, which is 2 chapters. Was it 2? It's 1 or 2 chapters, and it's very strange. Also the age gap. There's a big age gap. I don't love age gaps. Now we're on to 3.5 stars. This is the first one in the series. This is Fairest of All. This one is about the evil queen. I almost teared up. I did tear up, but I think that might have just been because it was late at night. But yeah, this one was sad. I did feel incredibly bad for the queen. She was so nice, and she was like the best mum to Snow White ever. And the only reason she turned evil is because her evil dad was in the mirror and like taunting. I don't know, it was crazy, but I felt so bad for her. Then we have This Winter by Alice Oseman. It was really short, so I feel like I couldn't really connect with them as much. I have watched Heartstopper, but I haven't read it because I don't like graphic novels because they're just so confusing. I don't know where I'm meant to look, which is interesting because when you see one of these books you'll be like, what were you just saying? Anyway, I don't love graphic novels, so I haven't read Heartstopper, but I've watched Heartstopper, and I think this comes after season 2 or maybe 3 whenever that comes out. I don't know. Point is, it's just really short, so I don't really connect with the characters. Also, Oliver's in it, and Oliver isn't in the show. Do love Oliver though, cute. Okay, I know Charlie has mental illnesses and depression and all that jazz, but he was so mean to Tori. But he did realise that and was like, I should be nicer. And so I was like, okay, fair enough, Charlie. I'm sorry for judging you so quickly. Nick is great. Love Nick. I'm not gonna lie. I hate Nick and Charlie together. They do too much like cutie things that I'm like, oh, and that is probably just me. But you know, anyway, love Tori. It was a good book, and I read it because it's Christmas. I have all of Alice Oseman's other books as well, except for Heartstopper. Maybe I'll read that at some point. I don't know. Who knows? Probably not. Then Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. This one I liked more because the relationship was less icky and he didn't date his stepsister. I liked it more because the story was different. Like, I think people hate Colleen Hoover so much because of the relationships in her stories are always so weird. But in this one, the relationship wasn't as bad, and it was mostly to do with a mum and her daughter rather than a couple. I think it just ended badly, so that's why I ranked it down a bit. And then How to Treat Magical Beasts Volume 3. This is a manga, so it is kind of graphic novel-y. But the thing with these is that, like, it's very obvious where you're meant to look next. graphic novels aren't. Anyway, this is very cute. I love this series. It's just, obviously there's not like a huge storyline to it. There's no like arcs or anything, so I can't rate it like mega highly, but I do love it. It is very cute. I do want the other two books. I don't have them yet, but I want them. Yeah, we're on to 4-star books. So these are the ones that are like good books. Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse. I read this whole series this year, but this one was my least favourite. Not because it's bad, just because, I don't know, I feel like nothing really happened, you know? Like, obviously things happened, but it was a lot slower than the other books. There was a lot less to it. Still a great book. Okay. The Shining. I read this because I wanted to read it anyway, but I was watching the film in college, so I read it before I watched it. It's so long, but it is very good. I was like reading it and I was like, oh my god, Danny, get out of there. Like, what's the mum's name? Whatever her name is. I was like, get out of there. Mr. Halloran is great. There's so much to this book. Like, there's so many like character developments, the ghosts and stuff, the Shining, the actual Shining part of it. There's so much, and it would make such a good film, right? But the Shining film is like, I think, one of the worst things I've ever watched, and I watched it this year. So when my film ranking video comes out, you can see where I put that. But it was so bad compared to the book because they missed so many things. They didn't even explain what the Shining actually is. Mr. Halloran is in it like one time, and they don't explain why he's coming back to the hotel. He's just on his way for no reason whatsoever. And they don't give Jack any of his character. Like, in the book you feel kind of bad for him because he's being like possessed kinda, and he doesn't actually want to hurt anyone. Like, he's a dick, but he doesn't actually want to hurt anyone, you know? It's just the hotel getting to him. And in the film he just randomly starts trying to kill them for no reason. Like, it was such a bad film. I hated it, but I loved the book. The book was really good. So if you've watched the film and you thought this is terrible, read the book. Then we have Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, the first one. It's the introduction to the series. It gives you your characters. It lets you know what's going on. This is when he did the Medusa, he got the lightning bolt. That's all I remember. It's good. It's just, obviously there's less to it because it's the first one. He just got to camp, you know? So, yeah. And then Sea of Monsters. Oh, this one's smaller than I thought. Sea of Monsters. What I don't get is these covers. That is not a 12-year-old. But obviously, like, whatever. That's irrelevant. I like this one more than the first one because, again, it's the same. Like, they just got to camp. This isn't the overarching story yet. But I like this one more because I think I just liked the Sea of Monsters more than the Lightning Bolt story. I think that's it. This is also when Tyson gets introduced. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. Right, now we're on 4.5-star books. The Sky is Everywhere. It was a very good book. I didn't like how she was going for one guy and then ended up going for her dead sister's boyfriend. I get why though. And then she like fixes it all up in the end, so it's okay. I liked when she finally started talking to her friend again. That was good. The letters are cool. I don't know what to say. I kind of forgot what happens. It was good. I tried to watch the film, but I turned it off like 20 minutes in because the film was terrible. But the book is good. I don't know what else to say. Anyway, next up is The Thorn Girl. This is very different to all the other books. There's a lot of plot twists. I think I read this in like one day. There's a lot of plot twists in this. I think there's like 4 main characters. One of them I hate, she's so annoying. Rachel is like the police officer, and she's the only one who actually believes this girl and is like trying to help her. So we love Rachel. We love main girl. We love the guy, whoever he is. We hate one of them, and then the other one's like, yeah. I'm pretty sure she breaks into someone's house at some point in this, or maybe just goes into their garden. But this is it's like a mystery kind of thing, where she's trying to solve something that happened to her mom like a couple years ago, and then there's a whole like house thing that got burnt down, and then there was a guy, and then there was a situation, and then there was a bunch of stuff. I don't know, but it was very good. And then they both die at the end. I think this is the book I read the most recently other than this winter. Maisie hates this, but I loved it. So many people hate this on TikTok because this was like proper hyped up on TikTok, and then everyone read it, it was like wow, and then now everyone hates it. I liked it. I didn't like the writing when it's Rufus's point of view. The way he talks is very interesting, but I liked the concept. I will not read the first to die at the end. I won't, but I like the concept of knowing when you die. Well, I mean, I wouldn't like that in real life, but I like it in the book, and how they found each other. I didn't like how it kept going to all these random people. Like, getting their point of views was good, yeah, but I didn't like how the first sentence in all of them would be like, Deathcast. See, Deathcast did not call Amy debut because she isn't dying today. Like, I didn't like how they put that every single time. Like, I feel like maybe they could have changed the wording of it a bit. I don't know. But other than that, loved it. The ending was crazy. I didn't think they'd die that way. Very sad. The Battle of the Labyrinth. Very, very good. I loved the whole labyrinth. I love the labyrinth. What can I say? There was two. I think I would have given this 5 stars, but I didn't because there were just too many names of different monsters to remember, and I couldn't pronounce any of them, and it was really hard. But I liked how they kind of, I don't know, I liked it. It was good. Radio Silence. This is another Alice Oseman book. There's such tiny chapters. I love it. But this one is very good. I like how it's just a little friendship. They don't get together. Like, we see the character development of both, even though it's only in one person's point of view. Like that. The whole thing is that Aled has a radio show. Radio Silence, yeah, he has a radio show, and he's like, oh, I wish February would come back. And the whole time you're like trying to figure out who is this person. And at first I was like, oh, it's definitely this person. But then as we read on, I'm like, oh, it's not, is it? But then it was. I'm really good at explaining these, aren't I? But I'm trying not to give spoilers, so I can't. Anyway, oh, I forgot that we're in top 10 now. Oops. Number 10 was They Both Die at the end. And then Battle of the Labyrinth is 9, Radio Silence is 8. So this is number 7, The Last Olympian. This was my favourite one because it all wraps up. So much is going on, but it's told very well, that it's not rushed, basically. Oh my god, so many things happened. Nico's story, great. Selena, what the hell? Clarice is a bitch in this book. She just, don't even. The prophecies finally being fulfilled in this one. Everyone hates Percy again. I mean, everyone always hates Percy, let's be real. There's a whole thing that goes on with the gods at the end. Just so much happens. So much happens in this. There's so many different like little stories, but they're all very good. This is the best one of the 5. In number 6 we have Frozen Charlotte. I also read that in one day. That one was good. The plot twist was insane. The beginning of it was crazy. I mean, something happened straight away and I'm like, what the hell? Never do a Ouija board without proper protection. Also on your phone. How does that even... And it worked. So anyway, so much happens. There's a cliff, there's an ocean. Oh, I hated the ending. I just went in my head. The ending set it up for a second book, and I hate that. I hate when it's like a horror thing and it's like, oh, it's done, but then it isn't. Like, actually, just why do people do that? I need closure, and they don't give me closure. But I don't want to read the other book, even though this one was very good. We're in top 5. Number 5 is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. That was so good. So good. I didn't realise that Celia is introduced straight away, but very good. There's all the husbands, obviously. One of them is amazing, another one's decent, and we hate all the rest. Yeah, oh, and there's one part in the book where I was like, oh, they're all happy, this is all great, and then everything gets ruined. And then A Witch in Time. Basically, there's a young 18-year-old girl, and there's this, her neighbour is this man, and he would paint her and her siblings sometimes, and he'd pay for them to be like models. And obviously her family's broke. Oh, this was like the 1800s. Her family's broke, so they let it happen. But then she falls in love with him, and he draws a naked picture of her, and then her mum sees it and is like, what the hell? So she curses her, but she doesn't mean to curse her. She brings like a demon into the house, and then is like, oh, I don't know, she does a spell, it messes up. So both her daughter and the other guy are stuck in time, constantly getting together and then ruining it somehow. So the current day, and then it goes back to 800s, and then back to the second time she like reincarnated, and then back to the third time, and like this whole thing. And there's this one guy that will meet her every single time because he's like part of the curse, but he's not cursed. And then it's like, it was crazy to say the least. But the OG person, the first one to get cursed, was the best. She was great. In number 3, don't judge me too hard, anti people, Without Merit by Colleen Hoover. People hate Colleen Hoover, don't love her, even though this was amazing. This was so good. All of the characters are messed up, but like not weird, they're just messed up, you know. And then there's like, they all hate each other, but there's stuff there's good. And then there's a dog, and then the thing with her mum is insane. It's in here, I can tell you. Her mum's in the basement. It's interesting. It's so good though. Demi, if you're watching this, I don't know if you are, buy this book. It's so good. And then in place 2, Wonder. I watched the film ages ago, just read the book. So good. It's so sad. Like, poor Augie. Like, what the hell? Who would... Be real. Let me do my be real real quick. I loved it. It was great. It was sad. It was cute. Loved his family. The dog, Julian. Oh my god, I hated Julian so much. I don't care if he's like a 10-year-old child. He is a bitch. Although there is the chapter at the end, which is like a Julian chapter, and it happens like after the book takes place, and like he's like, oh my god, I was so rude, and then he cries because he was mean, and he was like, he realized how mean he was and he felt bad, and like, it's so cute. It was, he redeems himself in that one chapter, and I feel, you know, but if it didn't have that chapter I would despise him, like I do in the films. Anyway, there's the part at the woods where he's getting chased and then people help him. That's cute. I love this book. I love it. I love the film. I will never not love Wonder. And then my number 1 book of the year, How to Make Friends with the Dark. This is a big book too. Tiger, his mum died, and her only family left, so she's in the system and she gets sent to different foster homes, and they keep like sending her back for whatever. They keep moving her to different houses for whatever reason that is, and then in the end she's in one, and like things are happening and she's like, oh, and she won't get out of her mum's wedding dress is the point, and so she stinks. She's sweaty, she's got greasy ass hair, all that jazz, but then she's like, because she's grieving, so we can't judge her. And then there's 2 people in the foster home with her 2 little kids, and then there's this older boy who's out of the system now because he's 18, but he still lives there because that woman is nice. Yeah, anyway, so basically she has to learn how to grieve without like ruining herself. I think she gets in a car crash at some point, crazy. There's a girl who she originally hates who then ends up being nice to her. There's her friend who she's jealous of, but her friend's also kind of jealous of her. She goes back to school and then she has to be part of this like grief group and she hates it. And then basically it's so good. I love Kathleen Glasgow. I've read Girl in Pieces, I've read You'd Be Home Now. They are all, oh my god, they are all 5-star books. They are all so good. And she's coming out with a new one. She's coming out with a new one soon. Anyway, this is the best book of the year. 5 stars. Read this book. Read all 3 of these books. Read them all. Anyway, that's it. I give 7 books 5 stars. Yeah, tell me what you think of my opinions. If you've read any of these books, let me know what you rated them, what you thought about them, or just what your favourite book this year was and your least favourite, and how many you like, subscribe, comment down below. I'll see you in my next video, which I don't know what it'll be, but yeah, bye.